of the NDC leadership is to visit the collation centers and undertake the following lawless acts: destroy all pink sheets they could lay their hands on, destroy ballot boxes and other election materials, beat up electoral officers and party representatives who challenge, threaten the life of any person who disagrees with them, chase out members of the National Election Security Task Force and take charge of the collation process. Ensure the collation is aborted when they realize that their candidate has lost, and compel the returning officers to declare NDC parliamentary candidates as winners of the parliamentary elections. These infractions have been recorded during the collation of the parliamentary election results for the following constituencies: 1. Ablekuma North, 2. Okankwe Central, 3. Tema Central, 4. Domiko Abenyan, 5. Ahafuano North, 6. Obuasi East, 7. Ahafuano Southwest, 8. Akwatia, 9. Sukum, 10. Fantiakwa North, 11. Misawam Adwajiri, and lastly, but not the least, Techima South and Aowi. The question many will ask is, why will anybody who claims to have won an election be interested in destroying the most crucial evidence, in this case, pink sheets and ballot papers, that will confirm his victory? The person who has claimed to have genuinely won an election should rather be interested in protecting the pieces of evidence that will prove that he has indeed won. It is thus not in doubt that the only reasonable conclusion that can be drawn from the lawless conduct of the NDC leadership and their party task is that they know they have lost the parliamentary elections in these constituencies and are therefore desperately seeking to destroy all the pieces of evidence in order to make it impossible for the victor to prove his victory. We shall at this juncture proceed to demonstrate that the NPP parliamentary candidates in the above mentioned constituencies indeed won the parliamentary election. Details of each constituency. 1. Ablekuma North constituency. The NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Nana Akuya Owu Afenyo, has won the parliamentary seat with 414 votes difference. According to data collected from all the 281 polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency, Honorable Akuya Afenyo of NPP obtained a total of 34,613 votes to beat her contender, the Reverend Obi of the NDC, who obtained 34,199 votes. We have scanned all the 281 pink sheets issued to us by the presiding officers of the various polling stations before transporting them to the EC Collation Center. Despite knowing that they have lost the parliamentary elections in Ablekuma North, per the records on the pink sheets, the NDC and their parliamentary candidates are refusing to accept the reality and to respect the will of the people of Ablekuma North, as expressed at the polls. They are still desperately seeking to mislead their supporters and the general public into believing that they won the election. Further to this, the NDC tried every possible means to destroy pink sheets, which are the primary records of the elections. It will be recalled that on Sunday, 8 December 2024, NDC tax stormed Ablekuma North Constituency Collation Center, overpowered the police, and ran amok, attempting to destroy every electoral material on site. In view of the vandalism that occurred at the collation center by the NDC hoodlums, the EC was unable to continue with the collation exercise at the Constituency Collation Center. Consequently, the EC invited the parties to the EC Regional Collation Center at Ridge on Monday, 9th December 2024 to complete the collation. A total of 214 polling station results were collated after verification and authentication by all the parties, leaving 67 pink sheets, which were to be collated on Tuesday, 10th December 2024. However, when the parties got to the Regional Collation Center on Tuesday, the NDC representatives, in shocking turn of events, said they wouldn't allow the EC to collate the remaining 67 polling station results, insisting that they could not find their pink sheets. They then ordered the constituency returning officer, Mr. Vincent-Obing, to declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. How? The returning officer told them that he had not finished with the collation, so he had no means of ascertaining who won the election and by what margin. By what margin has he won? The returning officer pleaded with them to collect the remaining 67 pink sheets before making any declaration as required by Regulation 43 of CI 127, a position that was strongly supported by the NPP's parliamentary candidate and her agents. The NDC would, however, have none of that, as they insisted that their candidate, Barbara Obin, had won and should be declared as such. This resulted in a misunderstanding, whereupon the NDC reps invited their party tax, who had mastered at the EC Regional Collation Center, to force their way into the collation center, having overpowered the security and destroyed facilities belonging to the commission, the electoral commission. As widely captured in videos that are in circulation, the NDC threatened to beat the returning officer and kill him if he failed to declare their candidate as the winner. Fearing for his life, Mr. Vincent-Obing, the returning officer, gave in to their demands, except that because he had not finished with the collation, he could not and did not mention any figure or percentages obtained by the candidate. Can we see the video?
Well,
you have the video.
was on CCTV.
Okay, let me continue. We'll show you the video. The returning officer, in response to this is the time. Okay, this is the video. The returning officer is being attacked and prisoned. Is there any voice? Thank you. The returning officer, in response to what the NDC hoodlums had ordered him to do, amid the threat of his life, only said, "I declare you as a winner." without even mentioning the name of the candidate nor the number of votes obtained by any of the candidates as required by law. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D could not be filled as required by Regulation 43(1)B of CI 127. Additionally, the returning officer could not issue out the rate for 1B as required by Regulation 43(1)G. I pose this question, that if your hand is raised that you have won an election and you go to the house, what are you going to show to your wife or your husband that you have won an election? There must be a documentary proof. So if your hand is only raised that you have won an election. And you go home, what are you going to tell your wife or your husband? Or what are you going to show him or her that you have won an election? The processes are documented in Regulation 43 of the CI. So if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. So that's for Madame Friye and Abigail Law. 2, we move on to Tema Central constituency. Data on the face of the pink sheets from all the 148 polling stations in Tema Central shows clearly that the NPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forster, won the parliamentary elections for the constituency with 55 votes difference. He obtained 18,870 votes to beat the NDC's candidate, Eddie Bright, who polled 18,815. When the NDC realized that they had lost, they sent their party thugs to disrupt the coalition exercise. These thugs overpowered the security and ran amok at the coalition center, injuring innocent people in the process. This compelled the Tema Metro EC Director, Mr. Ofosunyene A. Manasseh, to call for a suspension of the coalition in view of the prevailing chaos and other security concerns. Coalition resumed on Monday, 9th December, at the Tema Regional Police Command, which was again disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the coalition center in their hundreds and overpowered the police. The thugs took charge of the coalition process and ordered the EC to declare their parliamentary candidate, Eddie Bright, as the winner of the elections, when it was left with 2 pink sheets to complete the coalition process. The NDC knew very well that when the results of the 2 remaining polling stations are added to what had been collated for the candidates, the NPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forster, will beat their candidate by 55 votes. The polling station codes of the 2 outstanding stations and votes obtained by the 2 candidates are code C231309B, NPP 170 votes, NDC 103 votes. The second polling station outstanding is C231707, and here NPP got 279 votes and NDC 173. When the returning officer for the constituency resisted their attempt to compel him to declare the NDC candidate as the winner of the election, the NDC brought in a staff of the Electoral Commission from a different constituency, Tema West, to do the declaration for the Tema Central constituency without the inclusion of the 2 remaining pink sheets. Here too, the Form 1B, 1C, and 1D were all not filled by the officer as required by the law. They used an A4 sheet to fill the statutory form. Show them. You have the of the A4 sheet. All right. So that is what happened at Tema Central. We now move on to Okaikwe Central constituency. The NPP candidate and incumbent MP for Okaikwe Central constituency, Honorable Patrick Yabwama, won the parliamentary elections with a vote margin of 1,440 votes. The NPP candidate, Honorable Patrick Yabwama, obtained 20,229 votes as against NDC's Baba Sadiq, who polled 18,783 votes, with only 3 polling stations remaining. The records show that even when all the votes in the 3 polling stations are added to the NDC's candidate, it will not offset the vote difference. This is important. Even when all the 3 outstanding polling stations are added on to the NDC candidate, it would not offset the vote difference. At this moment, the coalition process was disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the coalition center and sought to destroy critical electoral materials, including pink sheets, a essential for verifying the result. It took control of the collation process and threatened the EC's officials to declare their candidate as winner, resulting in chaotic scenes which led to suspension of the constituency collation. The parties were invited to the EC Regional Collation Center on Monday, 9 December 2024 to complete the collation process. The NDC insisted that they would not accept the continuation of the collation and demanded that the EC should declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. Under visible duress, the returning officer excluded the results from 31 polling stations and declared the results based on only 110 polling stations. This action is inconsistent with the electoral laws as it excludes legitimate votes cast by constituents and fails to reflect the true outcome of the elections in Okaigwe Central. The NDC's disagreement was based on alleged issue with certain polling stations. The attack stormed the electoral EC Collation Center and coerced the returning officer to declare. And here too we have video footages to corroborate these incidents of vandalism and physical abuse of the electoral staff. I don't think you can show the footage.
This one is applicable, no.
What they say, declare will kill you.
All right, so let's go to the fourth one, Dominic-Wabenya constituency. We will share these videos with you. During the collation at Dominic-Wabenya constituency collation center, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center, destroyed electoral materials on site, bent ballot boxes, thereby truncating the collation process. The returning officer informed parties to leave the collation center on account of the security challenges, which made it impossible to continue with the collation. The returning officer assured the candidates and their agents that she would communicate a new venue for the continuation of the collation. We are however hearing that there was a purported declaration of results under duress, and that too in our absence, contrary to requirements of Regulation 43 of CI 127. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D was not filled as required by Regulation 43 1B 1 and B of CI 127, and the rate of declaration for 1B was also not issued as required by Regulation 43 1 and G. The NPP candidate or his agent have still not been informed of the new venue for the continuation of the collation, contrary to the assurances given by the returning officer during the raid by the NDC tax. Well, we can report that based on our own collation, the NPP parliamentary candidate, Ambassador Michael Koe Jr., won the parliamentary elections in Dominic-Wabenya and are confident that when EC resumes collation, our position will be vindicated. 5. Afenyo North constituency in Ashanti region. The NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai Prempe, won the parliamentary elections with a margin of 121 votes as per data collated from all the 140 polling stations by the party. The NPP's candidate, Nana Ajimai Prempe, has hard copies of all the 140 clean sheets that put him at 20,353 votes as against NDC's candidate at 20,232. I believe we all have witnessed what we call MP3 in Tema East sometime back. So if somebody wins with a difference of 121, he has won. After all, the law says first past the post. During the collation by the EC at the Constituency Collation Center, NDC tax stormed the collation center at Tepa SHS and began destroying and burning electoral materials, particularly pink sheets, computers, and ballot papers, as well as properties of the TEPA SHS, including louver blades, benches, and tables. They also manhandled NPP representatives and EC officials. These violent conducts by the NDC thugs, who had overpowered the police, prompted the intervention of the military to save lives and property. The NDC hoodlums did not only attack the collation center, but they also proceeded to launch an attack at the residence of the NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai, bent his vehicle and attacked his warehouse, stole his items, and attacked his radio station. There are video footages in wide circulations that captured all these attacks. These issues have since been reported to the Ghana police, and an arrest warrant has been issued. The videos are there, and we will give you copies of it. The question many will ask is, since when has it become an offense to contest a parliamentary elections in this country? Why is the NDC bent on thwarting all our democratic gains? Ghana has made a lot of gains. Instead of consolidating it, they are thwarting it. They are throwing it away. Let's go to the sixth one, Obuasi East. That's also in Ashanti. After collecting the polling station results from all the 115 polling stations, the NPP parliamentary candidate obtained 18,558 votes as against NDC's 18,539. Strangely, the returning officer, the police, and the NPP candidate, at the threat of their lives, succumbed to the unlawful demands of the NDC hoodlums, who had besieged the collation center and took charge of the constituency collation process to swap the election results. And we have that. Is that ready to show them? They swap the results that are mentioned and then announce that. Okay, they gave them these candidates to that of the NDC.
They just cancelled.
They canceled the first one, which will have the data and reverse and I mean, what is this? They swapped the results in favor of the NDC.
And they locked the candidate and asked him to sign or die. When he prefers dying or going to Parliament.
Number 7, Afenyo Southwest, also in Ashanti. Results from all the 103 polling stations indicate that the NPP's candidate, Elvis Oseme Sadapa, obtained 16,058 votes, as against NDC's candidate, who polled 15,372 votes. As usual, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center and in the process killed one of our supporters. We have all our pinches intact, and that shows clearly that the NPP parliamentary candidate won the parliamentary elections by 686 votes margin. 686 votes margin. The EC invited the parties to its regional collation center on Monday, 9 December 2024 at 10 a.m. The EC collected all the results from all the 103 polling stations, filled the Form 1C as well as the Form 1D. But due to threat on his life, he opted not to declare the final result. So this is the situation at Afenyo Southwest. Now we go to Bono East, number 8, Techima South constituency. Collation from 279 out of a total of 282 polling stations indicate clearly that Honorable Martin the NPP parliamentary candidate, obtained 46,468 votes as against NDC's Christopher Mayari, who polled for the 3,365 votes. Two other candidates in the parliamentary elections obtained 225 votes. The Constituency collation was disrupted by NDC elements and has since not resumed. The next one is Eastern Region and Sh0cking. Data from all the 202 polling stations show that the incumbent MP, Honorable Anodombre, have won the parliamentary election. The EC's collation at the Constituency Collation Center was disrupted by the NDC. The EC's arrangement to continue with the collation at the regional level in Confr was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school at Tessa based on security considerations. Leader will want to add something because he was present.
Friends from the media, I want to explain something that happened at Tessa. Honorable Obiamwa and my good self were there as representatives from the party's headquarters. On that day, that was a Thursday, last week Thursday, we had 4 constituencies: Fantiakwa North, Akotia, Suhum, and Sh0cking. The first collation to be completed for the day was Fantiakwa North. When we got that done, we came to Akotia, which we also successfully completed, and it was declared. Then it was left with Sh0cking and Suhum. Both were being done. Now, there was another go-slow. The NDC at every stage tried to disrupt. Eventually, they rejected six polling station results, and we accepted that if they've rejected, they don't want it to be part, that is fine, because it was still giving us a win of over 1,500. Then they tried to use an independent candidate agent to frustrate the process. In fact, eventually, the NDC leaders who came there, led by the famous Afenyo, told me and Honorable Obiamwa that they want to negotiate for us to allow the declaration of Suhum, and that their full soldiers were amassing outside, and that if all 4 constituencies are declared for us, they will kill them. Very sad. Eventually, when we said no, we have to continue with the process, and we completed the Suhum process where Suhum was declared, they tried another go-slow on Sh0cking. Each one of them that came said, "Oh, you said, I'm not on winning, I am farmer." Where does this happen? Eventually, when the EC official decided to continue the process, the NDC, led by Afenyo, came into the collation center and said that, okay, their computer was not working. So we give them 2 hours to charge their battery. As at 1 a.m., when they had gotten 3 hours to charge the so-called battery of the laptop, they said they were tired. Meanwhile, their candidate walked in. The candidate for Sh0cking walked in. And we said, okay, if you are tired, the candidate himself was there. Meanwhile, Honorable had been there the whole day. What next? The EC official, after another 1 hour of unnecessary disruption, he said he was tired, he was feeling sleepy, and that we should do it at 6 a.m. the following day, Friday. We all slept there. Well, by the way, I left around 4 a.m. to shower, and I came back around 7 o'clock. Around this time, the General Secretary was also there, but the candidate, Honorable Anodombre, and his agent slept there. At 6:30 thereabout, collation resumed. Around 8 o'clock, they started the agenda again. Will not allow. Then around 8:30, their counsel came in, Honorable Mr. Edujitamaklu, claiming that he had in his possession an injunction order from the court, only to find out later that they will use the delay tactics to file an application. They had filed a writ in court, that is the candidate for NDC had filed a writ in court with an injunction application. which they were seeking to serve the Honorable Anodombre and EC. So clearly, these are not Democrats. Whereas Dr. Bawumia conceded defeat even before EC's official announcement. They were not ready to accept defeat in these constituencies that day. They were not ready to concede defeat where they knew clearly, because their posture was that they won't allow the process to continue. And then, in fact, on Friday itself, after they have successfully gotten the Anodombre's constituency collation disrupted, then the police had arranged collation tables for the other constituencies. In fact, Techiman South has started. They were collating. Afenyo South West, we had their table. We had Obuasi East, and all the Ashanti region seats were supposed to be collated. And then the following day, Saturday, was for Greater Accra. They deliberately disrupted and then used social media to threaten the police, whereupon the police felt that they could not provide security, in spite of EC's insistence to continue the work. In fact, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that actually instructed the EC to stop the collation process. I repeat, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that instructed EC to stop the process of collating the results because it was not sure of its ability to provide security. And you recall that was when the deputy communication officer, I don't want to mispronounce his name, had issued threats, had commanded 5,000 people to meet at the police training school. It's all on social media. So our appeal to the international community, civil society organizations, the media, and all lovers of democracy is to show interest in these outstanding constituencies and give the EC every moral support to proceed to make these declarations. Again, we are encouraging the Electoral Commission that pursuant to their own statement they issued and their press conference on the evening of Friday, to proceed to collect and declare these results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I continue from here. Our wing constituency in Western North region. Records from 181 polling stations indicate that the vote difference between our candidates, Abanga Yakubu, and the NDC candidate is 103 votes in favor of the NDC candidate. However, we have learned of some major infractions at some polling stations which the party is still investigating. Other outstanding constituencies. Collation processes in Shukun, Fantiakwa North, and Akwatia constituencies were botched because of some security challenges occasioned by the NDC supporters and hoodlums besieging the respective constituency collation centers. The EC's arrangements continue with the collation at the regional level was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school at Tesano based on security considerations, just as the leader has just mentioned. Subsequently, these collations have since been completed under a serene environment and the results declared. True to our case, all the results were declared in favor of the NPP parliamentary candidates. The point must be made that this is not the first time in the history of this country's election that we have been confronted with an issue where there has been a continuation of a disrupted constituency collation or recollation. I think this point is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It will be recalled that in the year 2004, the parliamentary results improved constituency was initially declared for the NPP candidate, King David Amor. However, upon recollation of the results based on the pin sheet provided by the NDC candidate and his agents, the EC, under the then chairman, Dr.Bawumia reversed the results and declared the NDC candidate as the winner. So it has happened before in the electoral history of this country. The point must also be made that the position is that once a proper and regular declaration has been done by the EC, the only remedy available to an aggrieved party, apart from resorting to alternative dispute resolution, ADR, pursuant to Court Act and ADR Act, is to go to the High Court for redress under Article 99(1) of the 1992 Constitution. However, with the seats that the NPP is contesting, no declaration, properly so-called, was done. So the declaration has not been done. Why who can ask us to go to court? No, it's for the EC to recall it as it did in the year 2004 under Dr. Afenyo at two constituency in the now Bono East region. But the EC itself has issued a statement, a press conference, that there's no declaration. How does the NDC expect the EC to gazette election results that have not been fully collated and declared? It is pretty obvious that the NDC leadership and their supporters, who stormed the collation centers to compel the EC under the threat of death to declare their candidates as winners, have labored in vain, because we are a country of rule of law, not rule of men. EC's response. It is not surprising that at a press conference held on Friday, 13 December, the Electoral Commission, through its deputy chair, Mr. Samuel Tete, stated emphatically that there was no declaration of the Ablekuma North, Domekwa Benya, Tema Central, Okaikwe North, Ahafuano North, Ahafuano Southwest, Obuasi East, Techima South, and Nswam Adwajiri constituency parliamentary results, because the coalition was incomplete. Indeed, the Commission has maintained that all purported declaration of parliamentary results made under duress, as was seen in those constituencies, are not in conformity with laid out processes enshrined in CI 127, hence illegal and will not be upheld by the EC. Conclusion. It is therefore our expectation that the EC would immediately resume the collation exercise. We implore the National Election Security Task Force to provide adequate security to facilitate peaceful collation under a serene environment. We are also calling on the NDC leadership to rein in on their supporters. We are very certain that our parliamentary candidates in the above-mentioned constituencies won the elections based on verifiable data from the pink sheets, as we have demonstrated. We urge the EC and all stakeholders to, in the interest of democracy and peace of our dear country, take immediate steps to give effect to the will of the voters in these constituencies as expressed in the December vote. I thank you all.
All right, so you may proceed.
Ira, Chairman McMenu, a Kanye Ninano, over the Tofa. A baby, we said, yeah, I award the new patriotic party. And then at the country and then more and central for no issue. The tenting and in the titi, and they said, your constituencies be a NPP based on your coalition and your near Dinkunim Ewo. And after so, Pinsita, you got to by electoral commission, and the political parties, no, you can in your boom, no, near Dinkunim. Over constituencies, Nina, baby, as they say, Ablekuma North. Oshel goes are NPP now, our Ablekuma North. I 34,613. Now NDC candidates, as we know, 34,199. HSA year candidate friend Honorable Nana Ekwia Osuafi no edinkunim 414 votes. So we Ablekuma North everywhere. Over Tema Central so o share your results are near quality based on PCTA electoral commission na the my o who said your candidate a year forcing in 18,870 and our NDC candidate no in 18,115. Ufri Ablekuma North Naba Okaikwe Central and also era Patrick Bawumia our young Rashid Janu also o collecting the results in the area. Obo said NPP candidate no 20,229 and NDC candidate no 18,783. We share vote difference there one now. There 1,446 vote difference. Now cut 3 polling stations and here say kind NDC for the happening. There's all kinds of 3 polling station votes in the Krabuma. Still, your candidate and they didn't couldn't Oba baby to say Domain Kwabina also so NDC for no 2 and the Basabasa call Hono. Oment man Bawumia coalition na say Koso or Domain Kwabina and also so Alcoso Ewo. Oba baby to say Afenyo North constituency. Okay, your pinch it and they will in Aboma. Your candidate, a year Nanajima Prempe, in 20,353 as against NDC candidate we now 20,232. To show my vote difference, no, a 121 vote difference. Oba baby to say Obwas East, MPP near Jim Kunimoho. Vote MPP candidate now 18,558. As against NDC candidate we now 18,539. And no electoral commission will be annual political results in the way. Now so NDC for a macho man forward to transfer more. Electoral commission your candidate say results are MPP and MPP dear NDC dear MPP. Our NDC candidate to see so say Obu National Parliament then I'll pay and omting your candidate in inside. We are no free Afenyo Southwest. And so your candidate or who shall vote our 9 year 16,058. And then this candidate now 16,000. Your candidate now 16,058. And then this candidate now 15,372. And we shall vote my DBT this now 686 votes. And so this for 2 transfers or Mama. Electoral Commission and quality results in NBA. Over 30 miles south, 30 miles so Honorable Martin Kokweji Mensa Kosa, Lord Dinkunim, or our constituency. Our votes are near quality on 46,468 as against NDC candidate on now 43,365 votes. And also so send the NDC 4 years to transfer more Parkway Central. Afenyo Southwest and Afenyo South, Afenyo North no. Sa no we call her Techiman South, intimi kan we. In Sawa address so the same issue and the course so ewo ho. And no crowd there said the era Afenyo Markin, man no by joint leader kan no. You could share what Tessa no. Na ka yes electoral commission etwa so intimi kan we. NDC the patapasem to transfer sa mass exercise no. Am young kwan ko we. Now about our win constituency. Also, so electoral commission start to carry results no. Your sharp, what means figures go high, what polling station go high, or more than figures no. And then also so your call electoral commission say or honor results no so as a woman for as a party so you go so a year show. Now for constituency be to sell to whom Fantia Panov any apatia. And now say na bambo any south constituency one. I was at the core already bambo no. You don't call Tessano, police training school honor. As soon as you want to quality in a year and part, tell the NPP can, you didn't put him also a Quantia and a Fantia Panel. They say, baby, I Baby Juno. Yes, sir, electoral commission. Say, a car standing constituencies are. Young can be ya, as or share any account. Yes, sir, you ride GP, you ride down parent, or say your walk. Say, about to no master, you have Abel. na normal cost no less I you know. Say NDC to me the 2 million months na police na how police intimi na hwe no we to transfer mo. Tie say bambo bia so the my electoral commission. Say be electoral commission e betima ye omadwuma wie no. Say bambo dey farmer electoral commission no nya say demand. Obeti say NDC board kan of Framels say NPP say e win in court. Ye nya do be say court. If the electoral commission on quality results we and gazette here and into back so be na say court. Ye nya we police dey e say ye police ni we they will just say the electoral commission police ni we MPP be din kunim all sa constituencies. Enti na e frame when no e da mu nyina amase.